Hi children, last class we started civil disobedience movement, a mass movement started by Gandhiji in 1930. In that class we already learned which are the important social groups participated in the civil disobedience movement. Which are the important social groups participated in the civil disobedience movement? Rich peasant community, poor peasants, big business class, working class and women. We already learned first three social groups: rich peasant community, poor peasants and big business class. Today we will study other two social groups. Okay, industrial workers, working class and women. First we will start with the industrial working class. Why they participated in the civil disobedience movement? The industrial working class, they not participated in the civil disobedience movement in large scale except Nagpur region. Okay, so what ma'am told, they only participated in limited way, they participated in the civil disobedience movement except Nagpur region, because the industrialists they came closer to the Congress. So what happened? The workers stayed aloof. Means the big business group, they come closer to the Indian National Congress. So what happened? The workers, they maintained distance. But some workers, they actively participated in the civil disobedience movement. They adopted many Gandhian programs such as boycott of foreign goods, and they started their own movement. They started their own movement against low wages and improving their working condition. We can see they started many strikes. For example, they were struck by the railway workers in 1930. Strike by the railway workers in 1930 and dock workers in 1932. So many workers participated, but in large scale they were not participated in the civil disobedience movement. And thousands of workers in Chota Nagpur mine, they wore Gandhian cap and they participated in the boycott campaign. So many of the workers, thousands of workers in the Chota Nagpur mine, how they participated in the civil disobedience movement? By wearing Gandhian cap. They wore Gandhian cap and participated in the boycott campaign. But Congress were reluctant to include workers' demand in the part of their struggle. That is why they felt it. That is why these workers, they were not largely participated in the civil disobedience movement. So what ma'am told is clear, because the Congress, they were reluctant to include workers' demand. Okay, workers' demand in the part of the struggle program or in the part of the program. So, and they felt that it will alienate the big business class. So they were not ready to accept the demand of workers, okay, in the part of the struggle. So this working class, they were not actively participated in the civil disobedience movement. Another important social group participated in the civil disobedience movement was women. Large scale participation of women, that is one of the important feature of civil disobedience movement. During Gandhi's Salt March, thousands of women, they came out of their homes. They came out from their homes to listen Gandhi, and they participated in Protestant marches. They manufactured salt. They picketed foreign clothes. They picketed liquor shops, and many of the women, they went to jail. Means they actively participated in the civil disobedience movement. In urban area, these women, they were mainly from high caste families, upper caste families. In the rural area, they are mainly from rich peasant families. Gandhiji began to see the service of a nation as a sacred duty of women. But it didn't mean during this time the position of women or their public role, it was increased. It didn't mean that. Okay, Gandhiji asked women to look after their home and to become good wives and good mothers. Okay, and we can see during this, for a long time, the Congress was reluctant to allow women to hold any position. Okay, any position within the Congress. Only their symbolic presence that only allowed. Only the symbolic presence of women that only allowed. Next, our topic, the limits of civil disobedience movement. What are the limitations of civil disobedience movement? The first limitation, the nation's untouchable, who were called Dalits or oppressed, their participation in the civil disobedience movement was limited. So that is the first limit of civil disobedience movement. The participation of untouchables. Participation of untouchables limited. Okay, untouchables or depressed classes or Dalit we can tell. So the participation of untouchables, nowadays we will use the term scheduled caste and scheduled tribes only. Okay, this is many years before. Okay, so the participation of untouchables, that is, or we can tell these untouchables Dalits or oppressed classes, their participation was limited in the civil disobedience movement. So this is one of the most important limitation of civil disobedience movement. Why this untouchables participation is limited in the civil disobedience movement? Because for a long time Congress had ignored the Dalit for the fear of offending the conservative high caste Hindus. So they are not at all giving importance to the demand of untouchables. They feared the conservative high caste Hindus. So that is why this participation of untouchables that was limited in the civil disobedience movement. But Gandhiji declared that Swaraj would not come for 100 years if untouchability was not banned or untouchability was not eliminated from India. For 100 years we won't get freedom, according to Gandhi. And Gandhiji told these untouchables, Gandhiji called the untouchables as Harijans. Gandhiji called untouchables as Harijan, the children of God, and he organized many satyagrahas to secure the untouchables to enter into the temple. For the temple entry of untouchables, Gandhiji started many satyagrahas, not only this, for assessing public wells, tanks, road, okay, and schools. For the untouchables, Gandhiji took many satyagrahas, or Gandhiji led many satyagraha for this untouchable or depressed classes people, for assessing them into well, tanks, okay, that is all not allowed. Earlier time, you know, these depressed classes or these Dalit people, they were considered as untouchables. So they don't have any right, they can't enter into the temple, they can't use public places, they can't use public tanks, public wells, they can't go through public roads. So many limitations are there, many restrictions are there for these untouchables. So Gandhiji organized many satyagraha for this depressed class people or these untouchable people. Gandhiji himself cleaned the toilet to dignify the work of a bangi or sweeper. He himself cleaned the toilet and for what? Showing or to dignifying the work of a sweeper. And he persuaded the upper class people to change their heart and give up the sin of untouchability. And many Dalit leaders, they also found the solution for the improvement or solving the problem of their community. Many of the leaders, they found many solutions and they organized themselves and they demanded reserved seats for educational institution and separate electorate for legislative council. They know their upliftment or the lower caste people, their upliftment, it is only possible through giving education or through political empowerment only their upliftment possible. So they demanded reserved seats in educational institution and a separate electorate in the legislative council. Anyway, they thought political empowerment would solve their problem. Therefore, the participation of Dalit or the untouchables, their participation in the civil disobedience movement was limited, particularly in Maharashtra and Nagpur region. So ma'am already told you many of the leaders, they found solution, they are searching for solution for the improvement of the condition of the lower caste people. So among them, one of the most important leader, everybody know, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who was known as the architect of Indian Constitution. He is known as the architect of Indian Constitution. You know, he was born in a lower caste family. So by birth he was a lower caste, born in lower caste family. So in his childhood itself he faced a lot of discrimination, untouchability, discrimination in schools, in public places. He faced a lot of discrimination. So in childhood itself he decided in his mind, or he took a strong pledge in his mind, he will change the condition, or he will remove untouchability from India. And after, you know children, 1950, 26 January 1950, we got a constitution. Who is called the architect of Indian Constitution? Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. And in the constitution, in a article 17, as per the Article 17 abolished untouchability. So untouchability abolished by law under Article 17. Okay. So Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, one of the greatest leader of the depressed classes, he formed an association for Dalit or depressed classes. That association is called Depressed Class Association. Depressed Class Association. This association was formed by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar in 1930. In 1930, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar formed an association for depressed classes, that is known as Depressed Classes Association, and by clashed with Gandhi in the second round table conference, he demanded separate electorate for Dalit. Separate electorate for Dalit. But what happened? British government conceded his demand. British government agreed his demand. But Gandhiji began a fast unto death. Gandhiji started a fast unto death, and Gandhiji believed that the separate electorate for Dalit would slow down the integration, the process of integration in the society. And Gandhiji feared that it will affect the integration or the unity of Dalit in the process of unity or integration in the society. So Gandhiji opposed this, and Gandhiji started a fast unto death. Anyway, what happened? Ultimately, Ambedkar, he agreed Gandhi's position. He accepted Gandhi's position, and it resulted into the signing of a pact. That pact is known as Pune Pact. Pune Pact. Pune Pact. It was signed in September 1932. So question will come, who signed Pune Pact? Pune Pact signed between Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar in September 1932. What is the significance of Pune Pact? As per the Pune Pact, or the Pune Pact gave depressed classes reserved seats in provincial and central legislative council. As per the Pune Pact, what happened? Depressed classes, they got reserved seats in provincial legislative council and central legislative council. Provincial and central legislative council, depressed classes got reservation or separate electorate. They got reserved seats. Is it clear? But they would be elected. But they were voted in the general election, or they were voted in the general electorate. So that is the significance of Pune Pact. So this only Pune Pact clashed with Mahatma Gandhi in the second round table conference. Ambedkar demanded separate electorate for Dalit or depressed classes. So what happened? Britishers conceded his demand. So, but Gandhiji started a fast unto death, and he believed that separate electorate for Dalit, it will affect the integration of Dalit in the society. Ultimately, Ambedkar accepted Gandhi's position, and it resulted into the Pune Pact of September 1932. As per the Pune Pact, it gave the depressed classes reserved seats in the provincial and central legislative council, but they were to be voted in the general election or general electorate. Okay, one more limitation of civil disobedience movement, that is, many of the Muslim organizations, they were lukewarm to the civil disobedience movement, or they were not actively participated in the civil disobedience movement. That we will study in the next class. I think today's topic is clear to you. If you have any doubt, ask me. We will meet in the next class.